That was dumb. That was dumb. Every tool's a hammer, unless it's a screwdriver, then it's a chisel.
We need a torch. Hate that nut.
We're not doing that. Because it ain't built till it's overbuilt. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm working on my old safe here. I'm just now getting into the mechanicals of it. So without any further ado, I'll take you right in and show you exactly how much I know about safes so far. All right, so this is the inside of the door. This thing normally has a bunch of important pieces in here that do the magic of not letting you open or letting you open the door. And this one doesn't have any of those things. Yeah, that's mostly what I know about safes right now. Now, that's not completely true. I've been playing with this thing for a while. So, this is like a deadbolt lock. When you dial in the numbers of the combination, when you get to the last one, you got all 3 pins locked into the groove on the wheel, and then when you turn the dial a little bit more after it drops in, what you're doing is you're retracting this bolt. This bolt slides back in there when you do that. And then, if I reach underneath here, then you can turn that knob, which pulls those bolts in, and you can open the door. And without the guts, this thing just stays like that. Now, if by chance something had wiggled that and moved it over, then the safe would have been forever locked, really. You'd never be able to get into it because you can't move this from the outside, you know. But never happened, so that's cool. If I were going to leave this so it didn't lock, I would just remove this thing. And then there wouldn't be, this bolt wouldn't even be here. You'd always be able to swing, move the bolt in. So this is the new lock. Nah, we don't want this. Oh, comes with 3 bolts. So this is the new lock right here. And this one has all the important guts inside of it. But from what I'm gathering, essentially, this is where the spinny part goes with the numbers. Comes through the door from the front side, up through here. This thing will be gone. Comes up through here, and it needs to line up with this hole. Just like so. There's the old one. You figure, just guesstimating. The new one will sit about there, but it'll be down on this surface here. This thing needs to be at the right height. When the bolt's extended, meaning it's locked, it needs to be up underneath here, like this one is, because that right there is what keeps it from opening. When this lever can't go down, you can't open it. You see, when I open it, that lever goes down. When all is said and done, the edge of this bolt needs to be at the correct height this way, at the correct height here, right? So that it comes up under here and doesn't let it move. And it needs to be the correct distance out. It needs to come out here at least far enough to catch that. So I told you before, the guy from MBA USA was incredibly helpful. Once he understood what I was doing, he was able to sell me an extended bolt. So with this extended bolt, that is going to allow me to reach out far enough to get out here under this thing. So that should take care of this direction. Once this thing is in place and this bolt is in, it should be too long. And then I can just cut it back enough so that it doesn't, because if it goes too far, it'll hit over here and that'll be no good. So as long as it lands under here somewhere, so it can't drop down, right? So the extended bolt will take care of that. But I'm also gonna most likely need to drill and tap a couple holes in this edge and bolt on a piece, because this bolt is a lot higher in this direction. That's the edge of the bolt right there, the old bolt, and the new one is down here, and that's gonna be too low. So I think I'll have to bolt a piece on here to raise it up. And when it comes to mounting this thing, which actually will be the first thing I have to do, I gotta get this one tore off here. I don't know what, it's got screws, so that probably is easy. All right. That one comes off, and then I may have to build a plate to bolt this one to, because I may have to raise this thing up to get the height of the bolt correct. Or it may not be as big a deal, because you can see this thing is really wide right here. So maybe it's got pretty good forgiveness built into it, and I'll be able to just take this thing and drill and tap new holes and bolt her on. Maybe that direction won't be too hard. I don't know, but I'm gonna tear some stuff apart and see what I can see. So, stay tuned. Oh yeah, this locksmithery stuff is easy. This whole thing was just held together with normal bolts, which I have the keys to. So that's a part. There was a bunch of extra pieces, but I don't think I need any of that. That's the old crap. So I'm just gonna forget about all that stuff. So this is the new lock, and I took the cover off and I switched out the big long bolt like I was saying. I put that in just to make sure it's long enough, which it looks like it is. This thing has threads on the end. You can barely see them. They're kind of crudted up. But it actually goes through here, and it threads into the face on the front. So I don't think I really need this thing. But I don't like that it leaves such a humongous hole, because this is the new rod that'll be passing through there. So there's a lot of extra space there where if there were a fire, the heat could get around it. Maybe burn up all your crap you're trying to save. So I think I'll just take this guy, cut this head off of it, and then I can just thread it in there with a screwdriver or something, chisel, and then it'll just be flush with this face here. It won't be in my way, but I can still have the benefit of that smaller hole, which would allow a little better fire protection. I've seen a lot of safes and fireboxes that have been through house fires, and the modern stuff, unless it's a good, like a high quality safe, I shouldn't say modern, because there are still good safes that you can buy, but they don't have them at the Walmart, let me put it that way. And there's nothing wrong with I have a firebox. Until I get this safe done, all these years, all I've had is a regular little firebox. But in the knowledge that if there ever was a real fire, probably everything in it will be incinerated, because that's what they do. They just don't hold up. But a safe like this should hold up a little better. I'll take a little extra measure here to reduce the size of this hole as best I can, because it's fairly easy to do. And that'll give me a little bit better protection from fire, that's all. But this looks kind of good. So if you're looking straight down like this is the hole where the knob comes through. So this hole, when all is said and done, needs to line up with it, right? So you can see that this bolt is way too long, which is good, because it's easier to take it off than it is to, put her on, add her. I got a Miller offer. I don't have a add her onto her. Once I figure out where it's going to be, I'll cut this off. And then same thing in this direction. Once this is centered, however much I need to add to fill in that gap, I'll just make another block, probably make it out of the chunk I saw off here, and bolt it on there, and it'll hold that up. And I think it can just bolt directly to this face the way it is. Because once I cut it off, it won't be touching that. It clears this little bump, and if it doesn't, I'll grind that little bump off. So I think I can just, once I get it where I need it, transfer punch 4 holes, drill them, tap them, and bolt this right on. Like I said, cut the bolt, add on to the top of the bolt, and Bob's your uncle. Bob really is my uncle. Hi, Uncle Bob. He probably doesn't watch. I don't think anybody watches. So that's the plan. Just, you know, boop, boop, put her on, and then, you know, do a little bolt it, and we're done. This thing's practically finishing itself. Yeah. And then on the face of the door, I got to bolt on this thing, which is just kind of a trim ring, and it gives you your little line for your numbers. The old one didn't have that. It just had a little scratch kind of on the face of the door. This is the old one here. Kind of hard to read. Kind of neat, but crappy. I think this is all good news. I was really afraid I was going to have to build a big, a plate in here to raise this up so that it lined up right where the old one was out here. But I don't see why it matters, because I got a big flat surface. It's going to be good. It'll be a little easier than I was thinking it might be. That's always nice. I guess, stay tuned. Yeah, there's a little progress. Cut that off, like I said. Threaded it through so it's flush with the front, almost flush with the front. And then I just took a chisel and staked it down there good so it can't back out. Shouldn't really want to anyways, but if it did, it can't go that way anymore because it'll bottom out on the back side of, the new lock thingy-majangle. And it can't come this way very far because it'll hit those big boogers that I put there with a chisel. So next thing will be figure out how to center this guy. I probably have to take this big bolt back out, get this thing centered on that hole. I'll make a little pin that sits in here and fits through here or something like that. I don't know. And then I can get this bolted on, figure out how to cut the bolt, blah, blah, blah. So I made a little bushing, fits in this hole, It's going to locate this thing close enough that I can transfer some holes and get her bolted on. Oh, I just had to bring you in here and show you this. I'm thinking, how am I going to make sure it's square and all that stuff. And then I thought, wait a minute. If I mount it crooked on purpose, I won't have to add on to the top of this bar because it's going to be up there where it needs to be. And then when it retracts, it'll be out of the way. So really it could be down a little bit and it would still work. If it only moved that far, these pins are still locked. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think if I just mount it like that, that ought to be perfect enough. I had to cut a little bit off the bar just to get it to sit in here right, but I'm going to have to cut more off of it to make it actually work, because this is kind of retracted all the way in right now. And when it's retracted all the way in, it has to be far enough in to let this swing past it. So Still got more to cut off. Don't care about that right now, but I think I'm gonna mount it crooked on purpose. So if it's on purpose, it's not crooked. It's at an angle. Wow, check it out. It works, but just does. All right, so that's unlocked. And the pins will go in all the way. And we're just hitting, you know, the face of the bolt. So it just barely clears. But what what kind of surprised me was that's the locked position here. And it doesn't hit on top of the bolt, it hits the face of it. But that's okay. Locked is locked. That does the trick, and these pins are still out. Even when it's up against it, they're out a long way. So I think we're good. That ought to work. Yeah. All right, so that was a little easier than I thought. What would make this work better is if this lock mechanism had a longer stroke, you know, if it threw farther, but this is like the standard. I don't know, maybe you can get something that throws farther, but since I didn't know that I needed that, then I didn't ask for it. And like I said, it's gonna work just fine. So that's it for that. And as far as mechanical work goes, all I have left is I gotta mount this thing on the front of the door and put the, you know, the spinny numbery thing in from the other side. And then I got to cut the rod off here, cut it to length. And that does it for the mechanical stuff. So I'm going to, I guess I'll get it up on edge, and I'll get the holes drilled and tapped in the front to hold this thing on. Make sure it's all lines up and gonna work. And then I'll take this back off for when I paint it. Plan. I took the plastic pin I made and found a bushing that was almost right. I just wrapped a layer of cardboard around it, and voila, that will work. So that'll locate this guy pretty close to centered. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I took a square off the edge here and through the center of this hole and scratched a little line here, so I know where to line up my pointer. I already prick punched this one, so I'm just gonna I gotta drill these 4 holes and tap them, and I just want to get all this work done, this mechanical work done, and take this back off, and it'll be ready to work on the paint. There. Now see, because I'm an idiot, I broke one tap off right in there. But I'm not going to fight with it. 3 screws is going to hold that thing on there just fine. So this guy works nice and smooth, you know, there's no rubbing or anything. It actually rattles around in there a little bit, which is okay. At this point, when I finish the lock, there's a little pin you have to drive in there, and it kind of mashes the threads over and locks this guy to the spinny part down below with the brains. So I think that's good. Seems to me, you know, with all my locksmithing experience, 12 minutes, seems like it's good to go. So one last thing, of course, as always, that I forgot. that I do also want to take care of before I call it quits on the mechanical stuff is this pin here is really wore out. This one is good. This one's actually press fit, tight fit in there, but this one, some reason, got worn out. And all I'm gonna do is mix up some steel-filled epoxy, and I'm just gonna pack it into the one side right there to hold that pin over where it needs to be. And we're gonna call that good. There it is. Hinge pins are lined right up. Pretty good. You can see how far off it was. This side's all full of epoxy, and this side's right back, the pin's right back against the original wall. And we'll see if that dries. I mean, it worked before. It'd just be nice if it didn't. Oh, what it did was when you open the door, it sagged a little bit. It would drag on the bottom a little, but it's not really a big deal. If it doesn't fix it, it doesn't break my heart. Okay, that about wraps up the mechanical part of the restoration of this old safe. And honestly, this is going to sit a while. Spring is here now, and I got so much outside work I need to do that I just wanted to get this part of it done. And it's probably going to have to wait literally for a rainy day. So might be a while, but I'll be putting other videos up. I got all sorts of dumb things going on. But the safe might be a while. We'll see. We're just going to have to see how the weather plays out. That's really what it comes down to. So make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you click the bell. Make sure you click the thumbs up, okay? Take your time. Be careful. Don't give me a thumbs down. I don't want it. Thumbs up. Thanks for spending your time with me. I do appreciate you. Tell your friends they really ought to be watching The Town Tinker more regularly. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.